What I've found with these practices from doing them in my yoga teacher training is that it helps you to look for the good in things.
I noticed that we started off very simply. I was thankful for my family and friends. I let somebody borrow a pencil. And then they went into more in-depth things about how they were thankful for not only their parents, but the way their parents provided for them.
When he tells us all the act of kindness, we start getting some, and we start being friends and starting to know a lot about each other.
It made me feel happy that they think of me that way, because I'm sometimes made fun of my size and things, but now that I know my classmates wrote these things about me, it makes me feel that they like me. It makes me feel happy.
Up.
Cool. Yeah, keep going.
If they are lonely and scared, you can sit next to them so they can be happy. If you're afraid of the dark, let them borrow your nightlight.
My name is John Milham. I've been a touring drummer for about the past 23 years, and about 5 years ago, I found myself taking a yoga teacher training. I had been practicing yoga off and on for about 10 years, and I really wanted to kind of immerse myself into the practice. And so that path has led me into teaching these practices at my kids' school, which is an elementary school in Laurel, Mississippi, where I've lived now for about 9 years.
John came in and he worked on with the kids about being grateful for certain things and thankful for certain things, and he asked them to keep a journal on several things that they were thankful for every day and something that they had gratitude for.
He made us write everything about other people that are good and how they are nice and sweet. And after that, and after reading this, he always makes me feel positive, and it makes me feel positive and confident in myself.
Grace is good at drawing and music. She's fun, she's exciting, and she's creative and considerate.
Chloe is always kind. She is sweet and confident. She is a good piano player who is fun and helpful.
Maddie Grace is a good friend. She is sympathetic, reliable, kind, and helpful. She is very beautiful.
Gracie is amazing. She is a good singer who is kind, considerate, and beautiful. She is a loving friend.
I noticed that we started off very simply. I was thankful for my family and friends. I let somebody borrow a pencil. And then they went into more in-depth things about how they were thankful for not only their parents, but the way their parents provided for them. And it turned into a really neat project with the kids. They expected to come in and write something instead of just not, what do we do now? What kind of attitude?
What I've found with these practices from doing them in my yoga teacher training is that it helps you to look for the good in things. When you're given an assignment to find something grateful, you find yourself looking for things throughout the day. In moments where something you smell, or something you eat, or something someone says to you, they become more and more subtle the longer you do it. And obviously there's days where you don't feel like writing anything. And those are the days where you really have to dig deep to find something. So with the kids, I think it's really planting seeds for that, because I didn't learn any of this stuff until I was, 38 years old. So just to plant that seed with these kids, to start to look for the good, I think can be very transformative and a very powerful practice for them, because it's powerful for adults as well.
The connections that they've made through this process, I think, they're a class as a whole, but then they really in turn became friends and became more aware of each other And maybe some of the things that they said that they didn't intend to be hurtful but came across as hurtful to the other person were eliminated. We were so impressed with the outcomes of the gratitude journals that we plan to actually use them again next year in 6th grade and use them from the beginning of school to the end of school and see the development of the kids' attitudes that way as well.
It made me feel really good about myself and that other people in 6th grade at our school is saying such nice things about all of our classmates.
It made me feel happy that they think of me that way, because I'm sometimes made fun of my size and things, but now that I know my classmates wrote these things about me, it makes me feel that they like me. It makes me feel happy.
It makes me feel really happy that I actually have some people that care about me and that like me, because some people bully me, but I like that people are nice to me, and it just makes me really happy.
They do seem to be more compassionate towards one another. I noticed on one of the forms that John gave out, one of the students had wrote that they were going to be nice to someone else because they had fallen. A little girl had fallen on the ground, and everyone laughed at her. And so she said, I'm going to be nice to this person because everyone laughed at her. And so I think that they, there hasn't been as much arguing and as much drama. And so they really seem to be getting along a little bit better and more compassionate towards one another.
Whenever I wrote it, I felt good, and I think my friends felt good too. I feel calm and relaxed, and everything looks shinier when I open my eyes. If you hurt yourself and they've done the exact same thing before, they know how you feel. They're sorry that it happened.
If you are scared and if you are on the swings your first time, help them out. Let somebody get your swing if they are waiting a long time. If somebody gets a splinter, help them put on a bandage on it.
I feel like I expressed way more than I would just answering than when writing on paper, because I'm just saying everything that happened, everything great that happened, everything that was amazing.
Ever since Mr. John came in, he's told us that we had this kindness week, and we were told to be kind to other people, and it makes other people feel better about themselves. And now that we've gone through Kindness Week and Mr. John has come back, now it's kind of doing on instinct, because it's a good thing to be nice to people because you want people to be happy.
We have done this for many months now or more, and slowly and gradually we have noticed the kids coming together. It wasn't an overnight process, but they have, whether they realize it or not, they have shown more compassion to the other kids. When we get out into society and we get a job, we have to learn to work with somebody, whether we agree with them or not. We have to be friendly with them. We have to say kind things every day. Because if you're hostile to somebody, if they're hostile to you, you don't want to go to work. You don't want to be in that environment. So if we can teach it early and get it into their heads like it's an everyday nature thing, the world could be a kinder place if everybody has more empathy and compassionate and sympathy for each other, instead of showing up and going, they barely work today and they're not doing their job right, when they could come in and say, good job for trying today. We're glad you're here. We're glad you made it.
We take deep breaths in and out, practicing that whenever we get mad, and then sometimes we do stories about how other people calm their anger.
Whenever we do the breathing meditation, I'm calmer, and I realize that I'm actually a bit nicer because I'm not there's no reason to be angry when you're calm. We do some fun stuff, and we learn all about kindness, and we learn everything that is good. and we help people out when we need to. When he tells us all the act of kindness, we start getting some, and we start being friends and starting to know a lot about each other.
You do realize how much you don't think about every day that you're actually thankful for. And you try to have nice things you do to write down. Try a little bit harder to have stuff to write in there.
It's a lot more social. It's not like you're taking a test. It's not so like, oh, well, I have to study this. It's more like, well, you know what, I'm going to think about this throughout the days, and then when that time comes, I'll have it in my head.
He had gotten out. I traded places with him and I helped him up, and I traded places with him, which meant I was out instead of him. And it felt good when I did it. It feels good when you're kind.
We focused on acts of kindness, random acts of kindness, where for an entire week, it was called Random Acts of Kindness Week, which isn't my program, it's someone else's program. But we found it, and for an entire week, the whole school was focused on how many different acts of kindness they could do.
On Monday, I helped Seth with his math. I gave nice notes to people. I helped Taylor pick up. On Tuesday, I gave notes to Reagan. I picked up Bishop's marker off the floor and gave it back to him.
One of the classes ended up writing them all down on pieces of paper, and it was really amazing some of the stuff that the kids were doing. And it's just that part, it's triggering that part in them to make them realize how you can do one kind thing, but how that kind thing can make you feel good about yourself, and not only make the other person feel good, but then the string of events that can happen from that one thing. Because I feel like these practices have a ripple effect. You know, if you do one thing, it's going to ripple out to someone else. Someone's going to be inspired by that. So you inspire other people in your actions. And I think by acting and living in that way that you cultivate these habits. Okay, you say see.
I am grateful for my dad and my mom.
Okay.
I am thankful for my sister.
You'll take your time, okay?
I am grateful for my friends and my family.
I am grateful for my family.
I am grateful for my class.
I am thankful for my whole family. I'm grateful for a sunset I saw last week.
They did become more aware of how their actions affect other people and how their interactions affect each other. John and I both have done a lot of research on this, and we have seen in other schools what this kind of program will do for a school. Maybe, it's a way to change your climate, to change your culture. And we were proud of our climate. His children have been here for a long time. We're proud of the culture that we've built at the school. But there were places that need a little bit of refinement, and that allowed us to do it. So I'm thinking that other schools could do the very same thing.
We do a lot of really fun stuff, and sometimes he reads stories to us, and we do little games like the one with the bell.
There's this exercise that I learned in my yoga teacher training.
The bell is where he rings a singing bowl, and we all close our eyes, and when we don't hear the bell anymore, we just raise our hand.
The way I feel after we do it, I feel calm and peaceful inside.
You have them close their eyes, kind of bring their attention in, listen to their breath. Just breathe in, breathe out, listen to the sound of your breath. And so you hit the bowl, and you ask them to listen to the sound until the sound vanishes. And then when you can't hear the sound anymore, the kids raise their hand when the sound is completely gone. This has been one of the favorite exercises of the kids. They get real excited about it. But they've talked about how they feel more calm, more peaceful after they do the exercise. One little boy said, "I feel happier." And just to have that one moment where you can relax and just calm your nervous system, because kids at that age are all over the place. But just to be able to stop, breathe, pay attention to your experience, listen to a sound, concentrate on a sound. Because what's so beneficial too about this is that it helps them to concentrate. It's like, just listen to this one thing.
We should do these kind of things more often because it makes us realize things that we haven't realized yet. Because on some of the people, I'm thinking, well, I can't just put, he is nice, she is nice, she's pretty. I have to say things that I actually think about them. And it really changes the way I think about people.
I really feel like these practices could be so beneficial if we could get them into public schools and private schools all over the country, all over the world, really. If any of this is of any interest to you and you would like to see some of these practices come into your school system, feel free to contact us.